Declan McEvoy, co-founder of CoalFace Capital. Welcome to Irish Startup TV.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much for the opportunity to spread the gospel of the CoalFace. It's exciting, and we think it's going to be exciting for your viewers too.
So tell us a little bit about the product.
So essentially we're trying to build a tribe of traders initially, a network of traders. Our kind of fundamental belief is that traders get a bit of a bum deal, right? Particularly independent traders and smaller traders. So we're trying to gather them together in one place in terms of virtually on the internet, and we're going to take their data and we're going to rank them in a performance league table. So essentially, once we have the league table and we have that up and running, we can then move on to kind of the next phase of the operation, which is allowing non-trading investors to invest in the kind of top echelon of the group of traders we've assembled. And that's the gist of the idea in kind of a few words.
Fantastic. So we had a look at your product a few minutes ago, and it's ostensibly a portal that enables people to get access to established online trading platforms via your website.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a result you have the data of, you've done a deal with the company, so you have the trading data.
Yep.
And that's what enables you to rank the traders that are coming through your site.
Absolutely correct. So essentially we don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of existing online trading platforms out there. They do a great job. They've invested millions of dollars and millions of man hours, in fact, in kind of developing really robust trading platforms where you can trade a range of things, a very broad range of asset classes, from equities through to bonds, through to foreign exchange. So we think they do a great job. We're simply complementary to them. So if you come via our portal to open an account on one of those online trading platforms, two things happen. First of all, we're enabled to see what you're up to, so we can put you into our big data pool. And then second of all, the platforms pay us, and we in turn then pass that payment back on to the traders. So essentially, if you come via us, you get paid to trade.
So you're effectively going to become a big data platform.
A kind of big data hedge fund, a virtual hedge fund, is the aspiration. So we think that lots of traders out there really want to aspire to be a hedge fund manager of some sort. It's not possible everyone gets to be a hedge fund manager, not because they're not good enough, mainly because they aren't given the opportunity. We think this is a very sensible way to try and empower that ambition.
Traditional models such as the capital asset pricing model and Black-Scholes use quantitative theorems to figure out how the markets are performing and to perhaps try and predict how they're going to perform in the future.
Sure.
How is what you're doing going to be different than maybe the quant approach to creating an ETF or an exchange traded fund?
Well, the whole point about our ecosystem that we're developing is that we want to tap into a wide variety of traders out there who are doing their own thing. We don't really mind what their secret sauce is. If they are quantitative traders who use the techniques you speak about to make their trading decisions, great. If they're more fundamentally based, just using their own good instinct, that's fine too. What we want to do is get everyone's performance together in one place, stick it into a league table, rank the traders, and then eventually offer a tracking fund that will track the top 100 traders, say, out of a group of 10,000. And the beauty about that is that there's natural diversification in there, that not everyone's doing the same thing, that we're not going to have groupthink amongst the CoalFace traders. They're all acting independently in the ether. The thing that links them all together is that we pay them, and then eventually we'll offer a tracking fund based on what they're up to. So I guess we're not actually trying to sell a traditional asset manager investment process. So if you think about what a traditional asset manager might offer an investor, they'll say, give us your capital and we'll do certain things to it. You're buying an investment process from us. So either we look at all these small cap stocks and we know the management and we do our research, and that's how we make our trading decisions about who to invest in. Or we're a top-down macro fund, so we look at all the economic indicators. We've got our own models that we've developed to try and predict where they're going to go next, and that's how we'll invest your money. We're saying that's great, that's very specific to what they do, but what we're offering is not that. What we're offering is basically a whole bunch of traders out there who might be doing that kind of thing themselves, either they're successful or not. We're basically selling an investment management outcome rather than a promise of performance. So in other words, over time, the top 100 or 200 in our ecosystem are the ones who will be tracked and the ones who will get paid, and everybody's an opportunity to be in there, and of course it will be fluid, and it will be part of the algorithm that we do develop to manage that 200 will be kind of fluidity.
So it's very much about figuring out across a very diversified market who's performing well and tracking that performance rather than being specifically concerned about how they're going about it.
Exactly that. I mean, quite honestly, if they want to use tea leaves or lunar cycles to make a decision,
success is success.
If it's successful, but no, most importantly, if it's sustainable. So anybody, and this is the whole trick about investing, and everyone has these fads, etc., etc. We're trying to wheedle out those fads and have a more robust system that really is based on track records that have performance and performance in a sustained way over long periods of time.
I love your marketing, and
thank you.
it features into the website as well. The website is very slick, and it certainly inspired in me an awful lot of confidence in what you're doing. But on the confidence piece, you inspire and bring a lot more confidence because you have a huge background and domain expertise in financial trading.
Thank you very much for saying so. I spent a lot of my time in my career in London working in investment banks. I worked as both a trader and on the sales side as well, so I ran several desks at some of the bigger banks like Citigroup, and I suppose that experience has given me a lot of exposure to what really goes on in the industry, what really happens, and lots of excellent people doing lots of excellent things. But one thing I did feel that at the kind of more retail or individual trader end of the spectrum, there's a bit of a raw deal going on that people really need to understand more what's going on and to be given the opportunity then to kind of trade in a more sensible way. So that's one of the kind of motivations for doing this. It's supposed to be developed by traders, for traders, with traders' best interests in mind. And as we were discussing earlier, I think about the whole Freakonomics end of things. I'm a big believer in the kind of work that the Freakonomics authors do, that they have a very sensible idea around trying to align systems that have win-win incentives in place for everybody. So as far as we're concerned, this is a no-brainer for a trader. Essentially, they win, we obviously get paid for our endeavours, so we win. The platforms get more customers and they have more activity, so they win. So really there's very little scope to see anybody with downside in this particular project.
So far you've been self-funding to get to the beta. What are the next big milestones?
Well, we're going to actually launch formally in the next 2 or 3 weeks with a whole kind of PR effort and marketing out of London. Hope to be on Bloomberg TV, as well as Irish Startup TV and CNBC, etc. But really trying to get the message out there that this is a very interesting concept for traders to join. If you're going to open an online trading account with one of our partner online platforms, you might as well do it via us, because you're going to get a check rolling in within 6 weeks of joining us anyway. So we think it's a kind of definitely a win-win situation. So the next milestones, to answer the question directly, are the PR launch. We have some more investment coming in, possibly from Enterprise Ireland, and really we're trying to get from our kind of beta group of testing users up to maybe 1,000 users, and then 2,000 users and 5,000 users and beyond. So trying to get the message out there. We internally categorise that as phase 1, building it up to a kind of critical mass of traders, and in that period we can pay the traders very, very well. So it's not as if we're kind of saying join on a promise and mañana at some point you'll get something.
Just to clarify that paying the traders piece, so the revenue model is based on you having deals with various online platforms that you've partnered with?
The online platforms have introducing brokers in existence already, but we're introducing broker, we think, from the next generation of introducing brokers, where we do something very useful for the client as opposed to just trying to attract them into our site in the first place. So the way we get paid is that the online platforms give us a rebate, and we pass 80% of that rebate back on to the traders then. And how we calculate what each individual trader is entitled to is a function of their activity and where they rank in our performance league table. So the more activity a person has on their account, the more trading they're doing, the higher the rebate will be, irrespective of whether actually they're losing trading or they're winning trading. So from our point of view, obviously we are biased, but from our point of view, we think this is a no-brainer.
Declan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I'm excited to see the product launch and to see where the next couple of months brings.
Great. Richard, pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you.